Hi everyone, good to see you. This is another Product Builders AI native session, the format where we talk about what building digital products with AI actually looks like. And today's topic sounds simple, but turns out to be one of the hardest things in AI native teams, and we see it almost every day in our company as well. Who owns the product when some of the decisions are already being made by a model? And it's the first, let's say, attempt to answer this question today from the designer's perspective. That's why with me is Kamil Marczak, a designer at Boldare. And Kamil doesn't work next to the development team, he works inside it, which is exactly what and why he sees the design to code seam up to close. Yeah, I'm glad that you are here, Kamil.
Thank you. Thank you for introducing me. You probably maybe had a chance to, the viewers maybe had a chance to hear me out in the last episode from a month ago. If no, I recommend you to try to go there. And yeah, today we'll try to find answers. Who is responsible for AI outputs in the company?
Yes. I want to start with some agreement up front, if it's okay for you. This conversation is not any defense of design and it's not any complaining that design is taking something away from someone or us. It's a conversation about where accountability for decisions should sit in the teams like we build in the product teams and what happens when it doesn't sit anywhere. It will not be any deep philosophical conversation about decision making as well, just a short discussion about our opinion about it. Is it
Mhm.
okay for you?
Yeah.
Great. So let's start from like a real work and the real job. Let's imagine a feature
Mhm.
where that design choice, whatever it means, wasn't made by a person. The model made it, and your team took it. The developers build it, QA passed it, it goes live, and there is a serious problem. Quite simple, but serious. And nobody made the call exactly, and nobody caught it. So who is responsible?
Some people would say that the last person that said, let's go with it. So, yeah, uh, I've even heard stories where issues led to a trial in court. So people had to find out legally who is responsible, and they've tried to do that. But practically, in a team like ours, it would be hard to find out that person. And I have great example of such issue from the last year when I was experimenting with AI for the first time. I wanted to experiment with AI as much possible, and for a meeting with a product manager, I've designed a prototype. It was very quicker, much quicker than I prototype nowadays. And I came to the meeting and I felt something like I'm presenting a design made by a colleague or someone else. Like I mean, like exchange of someone because I had a goal which I presented to the ChatGPT or any other tool. Mm, and the AI has answered all the questions which could somehow be answered by me during a normal design process. And in that meeting, I felt that something is not right. I feel like I'm presenting somebody else's work that mentally I'm not the owner of the decisions which were accepted, approved during that design process, and I didn't like it. Since then, I've tried to find solutions. How could I do something about it, to use AI, but together save that control I'm supposed to have, because without that, who am I? Am I somebody who just pushes prompts and moves output to another person? Not really. And yeah, that problem with who is responsible in the companies in teams is scaling rapidly because more and more issues emerge. And I hope we'll find answer today because nowadays people push that responsibility from one person to another.
So, taking it in a summary, do you have any idea who is responsible for today in the teams you know, or it's still a part of discussion, or it depends on something? Because as I understand right now, it can be the last person, as you say. What does it mean can be very different. But do you have any strict opinion who could be responsible, like in average,
In average. Hmm.
or mostly, or more frequently?
It's hard to find one specific person. I try to believe that it's more a problem of a system, actually, because the way we use AI, that process, that system doesn't acknowledge that there is somebody responsible for something. So I would say it's more of a system issue, of a system problem. Mm, if you, I've heard such story that if you need to, if the answer for your question is like it depends, it means that you have a governance debt, a term which emerged nowadays, which is kind of fresh, which many teams try to find solution for. But if you happen to be in such a situation that you have a problem finding answer for that, it's a governance debt, and it could lead to big issues, to be honest.
Okay, so of course, we can imagine that leadership says we are adopting AI, please do it. Um, and as you are trying to say right now, it should be not the person, maybe it should be systematically solved. But of course, governance means many things. It can be on the C level, like a C-suite level before like the first AI decision in a company. It can be decision at the level of the team as well. If you could say from the perspective of a team member, what should be settled at the C-suite level before
Mhm.
the first AI assisted decision reaches users through the team, or what C-level team can do or give you as a team member to have the clear governance?
Mhm. I think that between the output, which is moved later somewhere else, and the approval, there should be someone, one person responsible for that output. Because without that, I mean, nowadays, many people contribute to one output. For example, something is designed that in Cursor on something else. Product manager has its own opinion and does something with that output. Sometimes me, sometimes developer. That line, that border between those specializations somehow spreads because of those AI tools. So assigning one specific person, it could sound a little bit like an effort, but I believe it's worth it. Assigning one specific person gives that person responsibility, and it makes him or her, the stakes are higher. So if your name is assigned to something, you are more careful about whether the sources the AI have used are up to date, because it's not always obvious. Was the prompt proper to the goal you are trying to achieve? So there are many different questions which assigning responsibility opens the door to many questions which nowadays they are just passed by because nobody feels responsible for that. So one important thing for the C-level is a system where people are assigned to, yeah, especially current AI features which are already developed on production in the market somewhere. You need to assign those people because without that, any issues, any incidents you will learn about will be when something will happen. And it could lead to not only issues regarding law or finance, but also brand and also trust users. AI features which are left to itself can lead to issues which could harm people, harm the users at the very end. So that could lead to lack of trust in the end, and that's hard to rebuild in comparison to, for example, technical debt, which is maybe not it's common, maybe not the easiest to solve, but it's much easier than working on the governance debt, which we are currently talking about.
Yeah. And I saw in some places that it's even called accountability debt,
Yeah.
because the governance is one thing, but at the end, accountability is the second one. But let's do it maybe differently, because I feel right now that I do not have the answer from you, maybe because the answer doesn't exist yet. So let's get back a little bit to the background of your work. And you don't design besides the team, you design inside it. Your decision and design decisions become code almost immediately right now. So, as you said, the line between designed and developed or built is very blurry. And this is the moment, maybe, where we can find the biggest blind spots in accountability. Maybe you have any ideas how we can find these blind spots between developers and designers, or the process between design and developer.
I've actually had a chance to find a few myself because if you had a chance to attend any meeting recently, there's probably the same amount of phantoms on the meeting as attenders, as people. And I've tried to use that somehow because during meetings in a product trio with product manager, developers, we discuss things, we approve specific decisions. And I came with an idea. What if I somehow, if the Fathom is already in the meeting, maybe I could express what I would like to change, use its transcription from that meeting, put it in the AI tool, and I wouldn't have to make my work twice somehow. That was my thought at the beginning. But generally, what happens, what decisions AI takes out of that transcription, that's the situation, that's the blind spot. That's the blind spot. And taking that into consideration is one thing, but the other thing is that, and I saw that myself, that AI sometimes loses track of what was happening before because the context is getting too big. So, apart from understanding the feedback I gathered in the transcription, somehow it adds up different features, different things which weren't before. Sometimes it loses track. Sometimes the features which were supposed to be global in the whole product, sometimes AI loses it, and then I had a situation where I didn't know that such occurrence happens, and the developer asked me, "Why does it? Why that feature is here? Why there's that button?" And that's the blind spot. It's a very small scale, but I can imagine how could it scale into something much bigger. So without a proper review, without proper accountability assigned to, for example, me that design could go into production and lead to later on lead to probably some issues. So yeah.
And from the practical perspective, what does a decision log even look like right now in a team where there is a designer and developers and you work together. I remember how it was built before AI, and right now is a model or assistant or any AI, let's say, companion, a separated option to take decisions in decision log, or you combine your work together, you and developer and your assistants? How this decision log is built today? Is it a real discussion, who took this decision and when and so on, or it means that your assistant is a part of you as a designer or as a part of developer as a design
Mhm.
as a developer, and who is in between? Because you
Mhm.
build code, developers build code. Do you have any experience about this with this in a teams?
Yeah, I've tried to experiment with that. And to be fair, when I started a conversation with the AI, I often tried to finish it with a design log. But at the very beginning, that decision log only had decisions only made by me individually. So not AI, not the whole team, just me. Later on, I've discovered that some of the decisions are made by AI, and that's not always an issue. It's great to be conscious about it, conscious what type of decisions are made by AI. But later on, I've updated my assistant, you could say, to collect decisions made by me and made by AI together, but it's still tricky which decisions AI will identify as its decisions because it's not so obvious. To be fair, as teams, we are still experimenting. It's still something which might lead to conflicts between different decision logs. They don't always acknowledge the same situations. They lack different
Okay.
decisions. So it's nowadays it's hard to connect all of them. But I imagine a situation where we, for example, iterate on the product, on the design, and all the decision logs are in the loop to get merged together. So I can imagine such situation. I hope that in the next half, for example, in the next half year, we will be able to do that. But now I think it requires further experimentation, and I believe that that's the current state of the market too.
Everywhere, I would say,
Yeah,
not only in the development teams. Um, okay, so trying to sum up what we said today, maybe we can turn this into something people can take away and apply. If you have or had to name one thing, it can be structural in the flow or cultural or any kind of thing that a CPO or a CTO should change this quarter or this month so that AI assisted design decisions don't land in the code without any owner, what it would be from you as a designer, what we should do.
I would say let's do an audit. But it sounds like a bit of work, but it will be quick. It will be quick. I hope so. I have like 3 or 5 questions which C-level should probably
Yeah.
ask themselves. The first one, apart from that, what the function of the AI? It's the obvious one to start with. But the second one, the one we've mentioned together at the webinar, is who is responsible for that AI feature? One specific person, because thanks to that, the impact on that feature is trackable. It works in iteration. Somebody keeps control of what feedback comes back to that feature, and it's easier for the whole company. But you have to think about edge case, maybe not even edge cases, because that's actually situations which may happen. So what happens if something goes wrong? who are we going to contact? Because if we when there's an incident and then we are already thinking about who will be responsible for that, we have a problem. So doing an audit and thinking who will we call when something bad happens, who will be notified about such situations in the meantime. Well, let's say that it's quiet, nothing happens, but who will be kept on track what is happening with that feature? That's another thing. And who is responsible, who has an authority to override AI decision? It's also a great one. For example, in like public systems, financial products, it's really important because such AI tools can decide whether somebody gets a loan, gets algorithms nowadays decide whether somebody can access a social service or no. So somebody could be also responsible for overriding that decision. Like it's popular nowadays that thinking about human in the loop. So that's a part of it. Without that, it's hard to say about accountability and governance.
I would say that it's always about the same thing. Who is responsible at the end depends on the culture, I would say, and the processes in your company as well, and the service you provide. I would go even with the thought that it should be, of course, done before the serious failure, but sometimes the first serious failure could
Mhm.
be the best way to learn who should be responsible, or maybe a group of people, maybe one person, it depends. But sometimes overriding it up front, it's even worse. Let's wait for a serious failure. I hope not the big one. Okay, Kamil, I think that we can leave it on this line because it sums up the whole conversation today. The model did it. It's not any accountability structure, as we know. Someone has to own the decision. And of course, the only question is when we settle this person or the way of decision making or decision process.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Kamil, for your time today again. And to all of you, if you want the recording or the notes or the next session information, it all comes together on our Substack, Product Builders AI Native Substack. There is a place where we announce upcoming topics and guests too. So, yeah, see you next time. Thank you.
I wish you all a cold evening today in Poland. And yeah, see you next time too. Thank you for today.